Hello, I'm Thomas Atkins, and I'm here to talk with you about Google Apps for students. In this introduction, I'm just going to cover two Google Apps, which is the Calendar and the Drive. Mainly, in the Calendar, I'm going to show you how to set events in your calendar and how to share your calendar so you can arrange meetings with team members or colleagues, and then also so you can manage your time effectively, really see what you can take on each semester if you want to, look into going into a particular student club or taking on a new position or internship and things like that. The Google Calendar is a great way to kind of see what it is that you have going on in each week and what you're taking on each week and if you can take on more. In the Drive, we'll talk about the Google Docs, the spreadsheet, the presentations for the slides, the slide maker, and then as well, we'll also talk about Google Forms. Okay, these are all just fantastic, powerful tools at your disposal in your email account, and they're great for working on team projects, most of all. All right. So here I am in my email, my Boise State email, and up here next to my Google Plus link, there is this button. Now let's go with the calendar first. So if you click on the calendar, as you can see, I have my schedule put in here. All of these different events. I have my classes, I have my work hours, things like that. I have meetings set with colleagues. As you can see, there's the career fair going on February 26th. I have it set each week. There's a conference that I'm going to. And then this is my pretty standard one, and I'll show you how to do this, that you can basically set your schedule in such a way to where it goes forward all the way out. That is, you can repeat events and things like that. And as you can see, it stops at the end of the school year there. So, how to insert an event. You can just double click on a time slot, any time slot, and set the times. If you clicked on the wrong time, it doesn't really matter. You can come in here and adjust it, and we'll say like 11 a.m. to, how about a couple hours here, 2 p.m., and then title of the event, test event, and then you can also put in an address. But you can also say, Jordan Ballroom, for example, or business building, things like that. And there you have that set. Let's say you wanted to invite a team member to this. You can just start typing in an address. Oh, and here's Robert Siebel. We'll use him. And now he is added along with me. So when I save this event, an invitation will go out to him. And you can say invite external guests, and then it asks me if I'd like to send my invitation right now, and I can click send. And then Robert would get an email saying, hey, would you like to go to test event? Say yes, no, or maybe. But we'll not send it to him. Deleting an event is really easy. You can just click on it and select delete. And you can delete and notify guests, or delete without notifying guests. And since we didn't notify Robert, we're going to go ahead and delete without notifying him. So how to get these repeatable events is another thing I want to show you. So double click on a time, choose the time, title of the event, and then there's this option right here that says repeat. And you can click repeat. So this is great for your school. You can say, okay, my UF 100 class, meets Wednesday and Friday, and I want it to stop. And you can choose a particular date, like the end of the year, which would be right here. We'll just go ahead and say May 10th. And you can say done. And it's in ILC, 202, and then save the event. And as you can see, it's repeated out all the way into May. There it is again. So it's a great way to insert your work schedule, your class schedule, and things like that, and then match it up with somebody else. To delete these, it's the same. You can click on it and go delete. And I'm just going to say all events in the series, and that means everything that I did, all those repeats set out into the future, are going to be deleted. So as you can see over here, people have shared their calendar with me. And I'll show you Mike's. This is my boss. And so if I wanted to arrange a meeting with Mike, I would view both calendars at the same time here. As I can see, he's out of the office on Monday and Tuesday, so I don't want to schedule a meeting with him right there. Looks like he's available right here, and looks like that's during my office hours, so I could schedule a meeting with him right here because he's available. And I only want to meet with him for an hour. Meeting with Mike and Thomas. And then of course I can send him an invitation just like I did last time. But we're not going to do that. We don't want to confuse Mike. And we'll discard it. So how to share your calendars like Mike has done here for me and these other folks is you can go to your calendar and click on this little drop down arrow and it says share this calendar. And here's all the people I've shared my calendar with. You likely won't see that when you first come on, but you can enter an email address such as, we'll use Robert again since he's in here. And there's Robert. And do I want him to see all events and details? Do I want him to see only my free and busy times? Do I allow him to make changes to the events? Things like that. But we'll say he's only allowed to see events and details. And there it is. Your calendar is saved. And he can now go in and schedule a meeting with me, or like a team meeting with me and others in our group. Because in your groups there's going to be 5 or 6 of you. So keep that in mind. This is a very, very useful tool rather than going off and auctioning is what we call it, auctioning off times. In your group you'll say, hey, are you available at 5 o'clock Tuesday? And 3 people say yes, 1 person will say no. To get around that, you can just have everybody update their calendar here in the Google Calendar and then have them share the calendar so you can see it and know exactly where you would want to set a team meeting to work on that final video project or to set up a study group and things of that nature. Again, this is also good because right now I can see, where I'm available, going forward for the rest of the semester. If I want to take on extracurriculars like internships or joining a student club organization, and I know what time that they meet. Let's say they met, on a Monday at 1 o'clock. It essentially looks like I wouldn't be able to do that because I have, my ARC office hours during that time. So keep this in mind going forward in the future as not only a way to schedule meetings with your team, but also a way for you to manage your own time and see if you can't take on, some additional responsibilities and make the most out of your time here at Boise State. Alright, so that's the Google Calendar. Let's talk about the Drive. So I've already shared with you some Google Docs for the exam, the practice, the exam study guide. And how you create a document is you just go up here to create, then you choose document. Anything, that you type in this document is, as you can see, all changes saved in Drive automatically. It's saved really quickly. Be sure to title your document too, just by clicking up there in the top left-hand corner and selecting OK. And then over here, let's say you're trying to work on, a paper with a partner. or preparing for a presentation with a partner, you could use this to kind of set an outline for your presentation and share this, you know, with your partner. You can actually have a link, or again, you can use the email address down here. And we'll use Robert since I keep bothering him today. And then you can set what you want Robert to be able to do. Can he edit? Do you want him to comment only or just view only? I'd like him to edit because we're going to be working on this document together. And then you just select share and save, but I won't bother him. Once Robert has the link, or you've shared this with him, it'll appear in his Google Drive as well, just like all of these items right here. If I go up here to shared with me, I can see all the documents, you know, that have been shared with me. All of these have been currently filed into folders and things like that, but this is one way to see what somebody else has shared with you. But once you've shared it with, you know, Robert, you are both able to type on this at the same time, and it's kind of freaky when you have more than, you know, 2 or 3 people in here at one time. I've had up to 15 people working on one document at one time, and you see everybody typing here and typing down here and typing over there, and you'll see all of their names up here in the top right hand corner, and it can kind of freak you out a little bit because everybody's typing and Google's always saving, and so it's really interesting. If you ever heard of a feature, or excuse me, an app called Dropbox, you know, you can share documents with other people, but you cannot work on them at the same time. If someone's working on the same document and saving it and somebody else doing the same thing, it's constantly rewriting itself and erasing changes and things like that. It's not as dynamic as a Google Doc. Okay, so keep that in mind, that the benefit of a Google Doc is that everybody can work on it at the same time. I want to show you one last feature over here, which is that you can, you know, write papers. If you don't have Microsoft Word or anything like that, you can use these Google Docs to write your papers and then download them as a Microsoft Word document. And it gives me the download. And then you don't even have to open it. You can just have this saved on your computer and upload it to Blackboard, you know, if that's what the instructor wants, if they want it in, you know, a Word document format. Then you just take this saved document and upload it right up into Blackboard. But here, I'll show you. There it is. There's our Google document, test document, docx, as a Word doc. It's a pretty advanced and dynamic and very interesting tool. You know, as you can see, this toolbar up here at the top is very similar to Microsoft Word, right? This may eliminate for you the need for Microsoft Word. So let's take a look at also the presentation, since you guys do have presentations coming up. We can select, you know, similar to PowerPoint, you can select a particular theme that you'd like to use. Just like on that Google Doc that I showed you, you can title it. And then you and your partner, as you can see, all changes saved to Drive, you and your partner can work on this presentation at the same time at 2 different locations and not have to worry about, you know, sending the presentation back and forth after someone's worked on it on their PowerPoint or things like that. Again, another interesting thing about this is after you've finished your slides, you know, we'll call it the UF 100 Exam 1 study session, stud session, that's funny. You can then download this as a Microsoft PowerPoint. And then open this document, you know, save this document to a thumb drive or anything like that. And then bring it on up when you're ready to present. So it's a very, very useful tool. You wouldn't need a Microsoft product, or if you don't have a Microsoft product, this could certainly work as a substitute. Spreadsheets are also very similar to Excel. You can use, the regular formulas that you see in Excel, such as equals sum, and then highlight a particular set, close the parentheses, and press enter. Of course, there's nothing in there, so it's 0. But a lot of the same features that you see, or a lot of the same commands that you see in Excel, can be used here in the spreadsheet. Only some of you will be using this. And again, you can download it as an Excel spreadsheet and title it the same way. So last but not least is an interesting one called forms. You can use forms to do a lot of different things. And instead of showing you a blank one, but you can use these as like a survey. And let me see if I have an example readily available here for you. Yes, here's the hobby alternative survey that I've once created here. And you can view the live form, and this is what it'll look like to the people who you send the link to. And they can say, okay, what are my hobbies? Maybe I do some sewing, some wine making, some beer making. Ooh, I would really like a vacation package, a silver bullet blender, things like that. What else do I, what's next for my purchase in my kitchen? Oh, that's definitely a KitchenAid. Anyways, and then you can just select submit. And there's the hobby alternative survey. You can use them as surveys. We'll be using them for process and instructor evaluations, or like pre-instructor evaluations as we go along here in the course. But in case for a class you ever need to take a survey or get some feedback from other students, this is a great tool and a very, very easy tool to use, to be honest with you. As you saw earlier, you can just title a question such as, what is your age? And then have them actually do a multiple choice, or you can have them do a different type of question here by selecting this right here, the question type, and we can just have them fill it in, and we'll choose text. So then they can just write their answer in right here. But I just wanted to show you this very interesting tool that I've used several times in marketing classes, especially if I wanted to gather some information on a particular customer or segment and things like that. Okay, so there it is. We've covered the calendar and how to repeat out events and share your calendar, and the drive, some of the most important features that are in your email account. And I do hope you use them along the way in your courses going forward. So they're very powerful tools, and you can always email me if you have any questions. Okay, those are the Google apps.